Hi everyone, today's video is going to be very exciting. Today I am going to take a look at the very popular but a specific fragrance DNA that has given rise to several perfumes in a very short span of time. Very few fragrances command such response, like the Creed Aventus and to some extent Killian's Angels here. And today we will let the imagination run wild. Many of you must have watched several videos and some of you may have several fragrances which are featured in this video or even more. Still, I hope that you will find this video to be very interesting, and if you do find some value to this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you love fragrance related content and enjoy such kind of videos, please consider subscribing to the channel because your support really means a lot to me. So without any further delay, let's dive in. First, let's get through the fragrances, their pricing and briefly the packaging as well. Starting from the left, it is the most affordable one here. It is the Khayal from the house of Hassan Oud. Next is the Paris Corner North Stag Expressions Troy 3. Yes, one more thing, all of the fragrances are rested properly for at least a month. Much more than that actually, but nothing less. The next is Khadlaj Karus Blue Spice. To the further right and very hyped, it is the Arabiat Prestige Marwa. The next one being the Ibrahim Al Quraisi French Tobacco, and the final one being the newly launched Rasasi Havas Cobra, not to be confused with any other Cobra fragrances. I am not featuring the Al Haramain one because I am just having the decant, not the full bottle. And rest, there can be numerous other clones, I haven't tried them really. I will be quickly moving through the packaging, only through the major drawbacks or some special features or advantages as well. With the Khayal, I have no complaint with the outer packaging. In fact, it is very robust, but I do have a problem with the bottle design. Not exactly the bottle design, but the quality control. Although the retail price they have mentioned is 2000 Indian rupees, most of the times they are discounted and you can find them for under 1500 Indian rupees. And if you are paying anything over that, I would recommend you to get other options out there. Don't get me wrong, this perfume also has some strength in the smell department as well, but I do feel that they could significantly improve the bottle as well as the cap. One of the highlights of the bottle is, despite being very affordable, they have a fantastic atomizer in this bottle. As you can see, it is completely pressurized and it does throw a good amount of juice. You can see some discoloration on the cap, and the bottle, if you look close enough, you can see some dents, slight bubbling of glass and not as smooth. In fact, a frosted glass along with a nicer cap would have given it a much more premium look. What are your thoughts? I generally don't mind simple design as long as they are finished very well. Now let's quickly move on to the next fragrance from the house of Paris Corner. It's not a new fragrance and I think there are 4 variants. However, the packaging of all of these fragrances are very similar. There are magnetic flaps. The box is of light and vibrant green. By the way, if you don't want to see the packaging part, feel free to skip to the smell section directly. Returning to the North Stag Troy 3, you will see the bottle resting in the silhouette, and also the bottle looks quite unique and vibrant. The bottle also has a matte finish which I really like. Rest of the things is pretty usual, normal atomizer, and there is a crystal like design on the top of the cap. There are no features that blow me away, but there isn't anything to complain about either. Next is the Khadlaj Karus Blue Spice. Once again, it's not a new release, it has been around for a year actually. Once again, the box comes with a magnetic flap and the bottle rests inside the coffin. The box as well as the bottle are all in blue color and they are finished pretty well. There is no pressurized atomizer in this as well, and there are no issue with the quality control. There are stripes running across the bottle which helps in gripping the bottle, but I would have preferred a plain cap finish. The bottle still looks absolutely gorgeous. Next we move on to the Ibrahim Al Quraisi one. It is the French Tobacco. All of the tobacco lineup comes in this brown box, pretty simple but supported by foam inside so that the bottle doesn't move around or get scratched or broken easily. A very simple but practical design. The bottle design also continues it, but since the bottle is very long, you have to be a bit careful while storing it because even a gentle push might lead to a broken bottle. And since they come in 200 ml size, the price is slightly on the higher side. Let's move on to the biggest box of the all, the Arabiat Prestige Marwa. There is a description of the smell in a poetic language, and if you want to read, feel free to pause the video. Once again, a magnetic flap with stone-like finish on the box as well as the bottle design as well. The bottle absolutely looks stunning. I personally feel that the packaging could have been a little bit simpler, a bit unnecessary to be honest. The atomizer of the Marwa is a pressurized one and one of the best among all of these fragrances present here. Finally, let's take a look at the Havas Cobra. No surprise here, just like other Havas packaging. Slight difference in color and pattern and that's it. It's more of a grey color rather than black. The atomizer is very good and it sprays good amount of juice, but it is not a pressurized one. And the cap has a satisfying click to it. It is the newest fragrance among all of these these fragrances present here. But how about smell of all of these fragrances? Starting from the most affordable one, the Khayal. If you are able to get this fragrance for under 1500 rupees, it is actually a very good fragrance for the price. Initially it was a bit sharp, and after nearly 2 months it has definitely improved a lot. It opens up with a familiar citrusy smell, but more than the citrus I am getting a lot of soapy elements along with a strong tea note. I would not say this is the closest thing to the Louis Vuitton imagination, but it certainly catches most of the essence. What you will be getting with that fragrance, it paints an overall picture. The thing with citrusy fragrances is that they don't really last very long. I have said this many times in my previous videos. When I am talking about hot and humid weather fragrances, I generally don't care about the performance. With this perfume, I am getting decent 6 hours of longevity, which is actually very good considering it is a citrus forward fragrance. But one thing you are losing out on is the beauty of citrus smell. There is intense soapiness in this fragrance along with a strong musky note. If you want to experience imagination like smell, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, and I totally get that, but you want good performance as well, this is absolutely not a bad fragrance to consider. This perfume is perfectly unisex, and since this is a fresh fragrance, you can pull it off all year round, be it summer, winter or rainy season. But what I would recommend is keep it for the summers, but avoid this fragrance in the very intense summer heat, especially when the temperature is going above 40 degrees Celsius mark, because it has that strong soapy and musky smell. One thing they should improve immediately is the bottle, as I had said earlier in the packaging. Now to the next fragrance, the Khadlaj Karus Blue Spice. Now all the Khadlaj fragrances I have tried ever, they all have been very smooth. They may have good or bad longevity, but smell wise they feel very rounded. This one has a much better juicy citrusy opening along with that fresh neroli. There is little bit of cinnamon along with lot of ginger, giving it a fresh yet spicy smell. One thing you will notice with this fragrance is that it is not as soapy as the previous fragrance was, and the tea smell is very light. The really good thing about this fragrance is that the citrus is not being overpowered with other notes, so you can consider this fragrance for the intense summer heat. But with that beautiful citrusy smell also comes the performance penalty. I get about 4 to 5 hours of longevity with moderate projection for the first hour. Honestly, if you have this fragrance, you are not missing out a lot. Excellent smelling fragrance, you just need to respray it from time to time. But if you haven't bought any of these fragrances yet, other fragrances of this video make lot more sense. The next fragrance, the Paris Corner Troy 3, is actually the most different fragrance from the Louis Vuitton imagination. It's not even close. But why have I featured this fragrance on this video? It has one of the most satisfying citrusy smell among these fragrances. It doesn't have that soapiness, nor does it have that tea note, but what you will be getting is that beautiful orange smell. Very juicy, fresh, citrusy with slight amount of sweetness, almost like a summer drink. If you don't care about the performance, but you want that mass appealing compliment getting fragrance and that simple citrusy smell, then this is the fragrance that you must be looking forward to. I get about 4 hours of longevity, but the projection is on the softer side. But when the heat and humidity will be at its peak, I will gravitate towards this fragrance. Not for its performance, but for its soothing and refreshing smell. Now what about a very popular fragrance, the Arabiat Prestige Marwa? While smell wise it gets really close, it has citruses that is balanced very well with the soapiness and the tea accord. I'm getting a lot of ambroxan in this fragrance with good mix of spices. But despite all of this, I'm not getting a lot of performance from this. It's about 5 to 6 hours of longevity on clothes with moderate projection for the first hour. Honestly, I don't think that this is the best performing fragrance in this list. With lot of hype around, the sellers have increased the prices, and personally I feel that you shouldn't pay the inflated price. And it's not like that it is miles ahead of other fragrances. In fact, I would rate the last 2 fragrances over this one. If you are getting this fragrance for under 2700 rupees, then definitely go for it. Now the next fragrance, the French Tobacco from Ibrahim Al Qureshi. I have featured this fragrance in several of my videos, and for a good reason. This is the longest lasting perfume among all of these fragrances, and the smell is excellent as well. If you are looking for a closest fragrance to the Louis Vuitton imagination, this is not one. This is more of a twist rather than being a clone. I get stronger neroli along with citruses and slightly more cinnamon compared to the ginger. But what the real twist is here, that lemongrass smell, and that green facet really complements this fragrance very well. The biggest weakness of this fragrance is that it doesn't come in 100 ml, or at least honest, I don't know. And many people will hesitate to buy 200 ml perfume without trying a decant. And if you equate the prices to 100 ml, actually this is not the most expensive fragrance, but since it doesn't come in 100 ml, it becomes expensive upfront. I get about 7 to 8 hours of longevity with moderate to strong projection for the first 1.5 hours. For a fresh fragrance, that's absolutely fantastic. And if the temperature is slightly cooler, then you will get even better performance. Now the final fragrance, the Havas Cobra. Well, to be honest, I am still testing this fragrance, but smell wise it is definitely very beautiful. Personally, I find it more pleasant than the Marwa because I am getting a lot more sweet orange smell in the beginning. The soapiness is also toned down a bit, so it is more towards the fresher side once again. Currently, I am getting about 6 hours of longevity, but this is also the least matured fragrances on this list. And if you haven't bought any fragrances among these, this is the most balanced in terms of smell, pricing and longevity. Especially the sweet orange smell that is much more prominent on this one than compared to the Marwa. So which cologne among these fragrances is your favorite, or which one you are looking forward to? Do let me know in the comment section down below. One last thing before I close this video, if you haven't brought any of these fragrances, I would say wait till December or January and get the fragrances in the winter and let it sit for a few months, and you will be ready with these fragrances for the summer. If you find this video of any value, please hit that like button. It really helps me a lot. And if you were new to my channel, do consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for more such videos. So that's it for today's video. I will meet you all in my next video. Till then, stay safe and as always, stay honest.